all the councillors and all political parties in Ekurhuleni, former mayors of Ekurhuleni, Comrade Ntombi Mekwe, Comrade Montli Gungubele and Mzwandile Masina. Comrades, we want to thank the Ekurhuleni government for really embracing this occasion and this day. And I want us to really give them a good round of applause. Irrespective of politics and political affiliation and so on, you comrades have come together to honor Comrade Chris. You are not only doing it for yourself, you are doing it for generations to come. And we really thank you for that. A Deputy Minister of Defense, Comrade Thabang Makwetla, present here. High Commissioner of the Republic of Zambia, Her Excellency Ms. Mazuba Penadine Monze. High Commissioner of the Kingdom of Lesotho, His Excellency Mr. Ntsime Jafeta, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, in absentia, represented here by Minister Councillor Comrade Liu Kaiyang, and Whip of Council in the city of Ekurhuleni, Alderman Jongizizwe Dlabati, as well as the convener of the ANC in Ekurhuleni, Comrade Dr. Tlakaza. We have a confused abantu ngalento ka doctor sometimes. Sino doctor way to up. And all members of the ANC and the alliance, the leagues represented here, and all dignitaries are present here today. Comrades, Comrade Tulas, the program director, have said, when we come to this place, it's a sacred place. It's a sacred place because Chris Hani was one person who was known for the truth. And when we come here, every year we come to give account. And whenever we come here, every year there are new developments. And we give account about ourselves, the ANC, his party. We give account about our ascendancy to power and the incumbency. What does it mean for us? What are the challenges that we face? We give account about what is around us politically in our environment. And in doing so, comrades, we do so with humility and to the best of our ability, giving an account to a person who was truthful and honest to the revolution. You know, when we are still alive, and it is fashionable among us today to call each other Cde commander, many other titles. Uvumntu nje kubiza commander nje uvuka uke wa commander aphi, you don't know. Now, izinto ezidalela inkinga njezo. Uvuke nje umuntu ekubiza commander uvuka nje ke commander uzibuza ndake nda commander aphi. You see, comrades, because words like Cde are very special. A Cde is somebody who have seen it all, at least from the front. It's like from the rank of the police or the army. You can't be a general if you have not undergone particular processes. A Cde is a special person. That's why in humility we call ourselves activists, because we are all activists. So we can change and become something else. Even heroes can become villains. But the revolutionary is somebody when he's no more. We say that comrade was a revolutionary. And that is why when we talk about Chris, we talk about somebody we know in terms of deeds and actions, that he was indeed a revolutionary to the end. And that's Chris Hani. Me and you, we can call ourselves that revolutionary when we're a bit tipsy, in the middle of the night. When we are together and we have had something to drink and we look at each other, we say, I'm a revolutionary, Mnamcha. There's no revolution there. It's just that you are at another level. You are not a revolutionary. Tomorrow you will have forgotten everything else. You will be something else. We see those things. They happen. Has it not happened to you, comrades? That when you argue somewhere in some place, you call each other revolutionaries? A revolutionary is not a word of self-praise. It's what you are, and you will be told about it when you are no more. You can't tell Mbalula that is the best of the best. Even if whatever he is, you can't. You'd never tell your own comrade that is the best of the best. You can only thank him for contribution. But a revolutionary is not something that you do, is what you live in deed and in action. And that is the person we're about to talk about here, Comrade Chris Hani. And those who want to rewrite history, they must go and read what Nelson Mandela said in his own defense at the dock during Rivonia trial on the origins of Umkhonto weSizwe as a formation of the ANC and the SACP. Chris Hani, comrades, was the chief of staff of Umkhonto weSizwe. He led the armed wing of the ANC, formed in conjunction with the South African Communist Party. And this fact must be amplified against the lies currently being told about the formation of MK. Chris Hani would have been proud of the continued unity, Comrade Soli, of the alliance as a united front to advance the national democratic revolution. The unity of purpose in the alliance is characterized by the complete support for an ANC electoral victory. He would have been among the programs Chris Hani would have advanced and championed. And of course, he would not have been happy with the fragmentation of the working class through creation of parallel trade union federations, which has the potential to give space to forces of counter-revolution. He would have advanced for the unity of the working class. Comrades, the intent of his assassination was to derail that MK was formed by the ANC and the SACP as an armed wing of the ANC. You know, comrades, when we go to courts and defend, some of you speak and say, why do you do that? You are giving somebody airtime. We're defending legacy. Legacy that was not created by us. That Chris Hani died and was killed because of that legacy. The South African Communist Party, the ANC, and the formation of Umkhonto weSizwe. We are not against anyone forming a political party or standing on his own. We are not against that. We're defending our legacy. After all, we have seen it all since 1994. This party is not the first. There have been some and they've failed. Others are folding quietly and coming back. And they are not coming back making noise. Bayas buya bethule. Udibana nomuntu BGM. Awuyazi noma ubuye nini. Umana umjonga ukuthi yey. When did this one now come back? But they folded. Have we ever fought any formation of a political party? No. When we raise, revolution is not about convenience, it's about principle. Convenience means you forgo what belongs to you for the sake of it. And then you leave it as part of the legacy, and then you say, no, let it go. And then you say, no, comrades, let it go because it doesn't belong to you. These properties, Umkhonto weSizwe, Communist Party, and everything else, they belong to the ANC. They don't belong to an individual. And that is why they must be protected. We are not against anybody. Please, let's engrave it in our minds for any intents and purposes. And that is what is important. People have got their own reasons why they form political parties. The reason party is formed because somebody is aggrieved about something or about somebody. And we have said that, and we repeat it again. Leaders come and go, but the ANC must remain. We don't follow an individual, we follow the ANC. And that is what is important. Ramaphosa is a president of the ANC and will be defended by the ANC. And that is why he is embraced by the masses of our people everywhere where you go. Bayamthanda Ramaphosa. but abanye bathi bayamthanda for different reasons. Uvela kubethe nge-250 or i-350. But bamthanda for different reasons. But Ramaphosa himself understand it is not me. It is the party I lead. The same as it happened with Zuma. With difficulties he had, we defended him. The same as Mbeki, we defended him. The same as Nelson Mandela. All their weaknesses became our weaknesses. Their strength became our strength. Their success became our success. There's never been a revolution that was waged by an individual. Today, when Blade leaves with success, he's not going to say, Yindo yamlia. You leave it behind because you served the ANC better, and we celebrate that. You leave us with NSFAS. When you leave us with NHI, it is ANC that has given you the mandate, and you have implemented the correct mandate of the ANC. Chris Hani will have celebrated that. So, comrades, we must disabuse ourselves as we celebrate this giant. I'm speaking about this because this giant, Chris Hani, Upra Chris, Uchonyana, who put Chris to us who are younger, a commander to MK soldiers, a chief of staff, a commissar, a general secretary, a communist. This comrade was something else. I don't know yodlala. Uhamba uyibeka nje ucula ngayo into ongayaziyo. Uyabona nezinto abazenzayo. You know, comrades, nezinto abazenza xa uthi uyabajonga i-assorted le. Ngabantu abanengxaki ubuninzi babo. Ungababala from 1 to 8 ngabantu abanengxaki. Comrades, organization ayifonywa ngabantu abanengxaki. Even if they win, we know that we must go and convince the people to vote for the ANC. Ningayilahli lonto funeka kuyosetyenzwa niyasebenza amavolontiya. Nina nizawubuyisela i-ANC back into power. Ningothuki comrades injawunjoku ningabuyi umva. You must never go backward. On this day when we commemorate this giant, we must tell him and say, Chris, our revolution has never been perfect. It has got its own weaknesses. Umzabalazo wethu esingawona namhlanje has not been perfect. Osdimpo, you are correct. Mistakes were made. And we learn from those mistakes. We don't only learn, but we want to undo those mistakes. As we go to our people today and ask them to vote for us, we know what we have done. Uchaba lungenile, the enemy tells a story to our people that we did nothing. But comrades, our track record speaks for itself. Bendisecaweni abantu bephambana kwi-podium begxeka i-ANC ndathetha into enye xa ndithetha nerhamente kaThixo ndathi niyayazi inyani baphakama bacula baqhwaba. Ngoba enyanini bayayazi inyani. Awungeke uxokisele umuntu omnyama kweli lizwe uthi ANC never did nothing. Khona amaqabane amaphutha abekhona. Ababenza i-political party basikhupha endleleni. Asinayo opposition kule country. uZuma usifakela nje amanzi endlini nje sijongane naye. Kodwa kulungile kunjalo ku-right. Ku-right ucinga bafana wenza into e-right yena. Kodwa siyamxelela umuntu omkhulu ayikho right le nto yenzayo. Asizuchitha xesha lethu simenza imanifesto yethu. Ngoba abantu bakuthi bayayazi nyani. Imanifesto yethu ile bichazwa nguComrade Blade up. I-revolution ibafakile abantwana ezikolweni. Ithini ndiyaxoka. Asikakagqibi. I-revolution ifaka abantwana more than kuthetha ngokwakhe uminister more than 5 million abantwana baxhamlile ku-NSFAS. Sayitshintsha la NSFAS from ischeme sobolekisa ngemali kubantwana sayenza ibhazari. Abantwana bafunda mahala ha. Ingxaki esinazo maqabane and many other challenges that we've got in the health system today. Ubunengxaki apha besinayo abantu bebulawa igciwane. Sangenelela, sayilungisa lonto. Ngoku kuthiwa impilo inde for abantu bakuthi. Akho mntu ahambe bhubha nje ligciwane eSouth Africa. Uyayifumana uncedo kwikliniki, urhulumente uya intervene. Yathi abantu bebulawa ngindlala kwelicala sangenelela, sa expand the social security net in the country. Le 350 siya transforma ngoku sifuna uyenza i-basic income grant. And then ndivile, you know comrades, ngiveni inkokelo efundileyo apha e-opposition ingakwazi ucacisa ukuthi i-price yesonka bubungaphi. But ke isonga i-20 rand, but staple fruit, food in South Africa is zero rated. Right? Is zero rated. I-manifesto yethu apho siyakhona sithi makupheliswe i-VAT kwi-essentials. Into esitshoyo leyo. Abantu abaninzi eSouth Africa, isikakhulu abantu abatsha abasebenzi. But our program of job creation, we say it must not end with 35, it must go beyond that. And that is what we say. And then we say in the next 5 years, we will create 2.5 million jobs. Ayonzo Milonto is based on experience. It is costed and it is something that is going to happen. Maqabane, if sino lose power apha ezintsomi zikhoyo ziphathe. What is coming in this country is boom. Ziyaduma. Kule minyaka izayo sibulewe iCovid abafuna isithethe ngayo. Yasibuyisela umva kodwa silwile. Uphuma kulo COVID. Salwa ngevaccine, abantu baya adyuwa bathini saphuma kulona. Sikhokelwa ngulo Ramaphosa. Sikhokelwa ile African National Congress. So uput Chris kasithetha naye sithi zikhona izinto bekufuneka sizenze ngokukhawuleza. If besibe nesibindi sokuzenza ezo zinto ngesikude. But it doesn't mean we cannot do them, and we're going to do them now. The ANC of Chris Hani is still firm on internationalism. We are with the people of Palestine. Sisodwa abantu bayabulawa eGaza. We are standing with the Communist Party and all the progressive forces in our country. Led by President Ramaphosa, we went to ICJ, what? Not in our name, stop it. And we're still marching on. We're still marching on in terms of our internationalism in the country, in the world. And that is where the ANC is. ANC, aigajiki maqabane. And we are strengthening it. That is why we're with our friends here from China. I was with the Chinese Communist Party yesterday. We are with our friends in the African continent. The ANC now has been given a big role to lead the liberation movement in the African continent. And in the African continent, our friends from Swapo to Frelimo, they say, we will never abandon the ANC because we know what is the ANC to us. And even up north and in the east, they are with the African National Congress. So comrades, as we remember Chris Hani, we need to march forward in unity. We need to march forward and ensure that all the things that the ANC is supposed to do are done, and we lead from the front. And we mobilize our people, because the biggest enemy is if our people don't come out in their numbers to vote. Our opponents have run out of steam. When we resolve load shedding, I saw them this morning arguing on television, no, this load shedding intervention is temporary. And then it will go to stage 16 after elections. Now they are bringing Swart Gefar. They are by about to sell about going at the load shedding. Os di porto e flula load shedding, uska khatatse hauswak. Retlo e bolaya nya. Ba ile ba re ba bolaile load shedding ba sa e bolaya. Ba theola tšhelete ka dikausu. Mmuso nkwa utswa tšhelete di funya fehla o iketsetswa fela. Jwale bushodu ri abufedisa mo re re motho a utswang re mo rommeng governmenteng a ikemela le mo xa ulisela okanye utyholwa ngobusela zimele uwedwa noba ungakhala inyembezi asazi ezigabani wathintini asizuba khona ecala kwakho step aside and if you are innocent you will come back. But the time when a comrade is arrested for corruption and we wear t-shirts, go to court and sing freedom songs, it's over in the ANC. It's over. I now phinde yenzeke ike yenzeka undifonele ngo 12. Siyabagxotha babantabo. Comrades who have parted ways. Some of our comrades who are disciplined are staying at home and all step aside. And there are others who are very good. It is very painful to see your own comrades being arrested for graft. It's very painful. Ayonto emnandi. Ukuthi ubona amaqabane banjwa, betyholwa ngezityholo and all of that. It's not nice. Even naye uZuma ngoku bebanjwa pha. Inhliziyo zethu bezibhlungu ubona ixhego lingene etrongweni. Yes, ungavuyela wena utata wakhe ngena nge-overall, worst of all, a freedom fighter. Ingene etrongweni ngo-12 ebusuku. And then ibanjwa pha and all of that. Asinangxaki yaloo nto. Akho mntu simfesela ububi, i-ANC ayilwanga namntu. Asoze silwe namntu thina. Thina comrades, let's serve our people. Silwe ubuhlanga. And as I conclude, silwe ubuhlanga and unite our organization. And we live amongst our people. Amakhansela wethu makabe phakathi kwabantu. We cannot lose power. You know, here in Ekurhuleni, comrades, we've got how many wards? We've got 78 wards out of how many? 112. It is 70%. But government is not controlled by us. Singozincazelana sesihamba sichenga nakwezi overall zibomvu sichenga ngapha siyachithwa. Ngoku sixakana nokuthi umeya funeka ibe ngubani but we are in majority. Funeka siyocenga kanti sinikeni umeya hayi. Ziyaduma ngomso doctor. Siyolwela indaba ukuthi ngubani ube ngumeya sicela nomuntu ongana ward. Siyamcenga ngawusinika ubumeya mfondini. You know why, comrades? Travesty of justice. I'm concluding. You are controlling 70 constituencies that you are servicing. The people in those constituencies want ANC service delivery. But you don't control power to service those people. And they don't understand why. Because there in the council, the power that you are supposed to have, legitimately so, ayikho ezandleni zenu nihamba nicela ezipassage. Because our people did not come out and vote in their numbers. Ngoku uyabava bonke bathetha ngecoalition. If ANC drop below 50 ndikhona, I'm prepared to work with you. But thina will be out of power, it's fine. Gulo bayazifuna petrol kwethu likayithathe mbaks. Yeah, basibulisa singababona ebusuku. Bathi lento siya kuyo icoalition. Akho coalition izakwenza kapha sithi chithani lo manzi akho nkukhu izawuxhelwa. Comrades, we have never won election on a silver platter. We win election by working hard. In the next 50 days, one person to a person. Let's stop talking to ourselves. Ngoba ihamba apha ezandleni zethu lento. So ndithi kanti gqibelisa ke maqabane. Ufuneka siqaphele lonto ukuthi what does this power means in Ekurhuleni? Yeah, in Ekurhuleni we've got 70 wards. 78 esizcontrollers ezethi ama councillor wethu ayabethwa pha ngabantu. but ekhansileni anina power. Umeya omnye umntu, uspika ngulobe lapha, and then nina niyakhapha nje. Kodwa nine-ward eziyi-70. Abanihloniphi nonihlonipha aba bantu ukuthi aba bantu aba masibahloniphe noko sibankinkishele. Noko bavotelwe ngabantu. Abastengi nostenga tu. Xa bathi no, bathi no. Austin-Mpo, I went to Port Elizabeth. I negotiated there with people with 2 seats in the council from 11 midnight till 5 a.m. Dithethe nendoda ndibone ke ngoku the only thing eshort ukundicela yona unkosikazi wami nje cha ndithi efondini esiza kunika lento ithi hayi take it or leave it mhlekazi. Lo mntu ndithetha naye unesite eyi-1 ndiyamcenga enenyani xa ndingamcengiyo iyahamba le phawu despite the fact yokuthi ndinabantu abayi-50 mna yena uyi-1 nje athi take it or leave it in that. There are others who want me also elsewhere. So coalitions, comrades, it's not something that has to be celebrated. The reason you see potholes in Johannesburg, Austin-Mpo, is coalitions. It's coalitions because you don't have anyone to. When Masondo was running Joburg, Mondlit Gungubele was running Ekuruleni, and Parkstar, who was running Joburg, you knew where to go. Today we are Kuban. Kenny Kuneni progress Ninu Yachikangapa Banbani Kunzima Kutengana Nabantu count Swanzikino to Sas Mama Musiu. And then cancel deteriorate. Tomorrow you are going to have a new mayor. After 5 days, there's another motion of no confidence. Services are not moving here. Coalitions have not rewarded our people, but coalitions, comrades, are a product of an election. And we can't blame it on anybody, but we must blame it on ourselves for not going out to talk to our people. So, masiyene bantwini maqabane mutu. Enkosi ndiyabulela Austin-Mpo, the Communist Party.
Amandla. Viva the ANC, viva. Viva the ANC, viva. Thank you, comrades. In the interest of time, comrades. Comrade Hoy order. Comrades, in the interest of time, from Kofimvaba to Lovedale, from Lovedale to the University of Fort Hare, then from there, a migrant worker, from there to exile, working for the ANC and the Communist Party, playing different roles. By the way, this was also at some stage a young lion, fighting like the lions which we had. Ezinye ke ngoku esijizisike sibhodle nje ngedlele ngecala singakwazi ukuluma. I'm not going to waste our time, but let me also recognize the Premier of Gauteng. Hoi hoi Gauteng, hoi hoi. Hoi hoi nasi Spani. That's the way we are recognizing you, Comrade Panyaza. We did get your apology that you had been deployed somewhere. But now we are having the last speaker we're having this speaker and then we will close. Comrade Solima Paila.
All power. All power. Matimba. Long live the SICP, long live. Long live Krizani, long live. Long live the ANC, long live. Long live the ANC, long live. Long live Kosato, long live. Forward to socialism, forward. Down with capitalism, down. Long live Samko, long live. Program Director, Comrade Tulas Nesi, our Deputy National Chair, thank you very much for the time. Let me greet first Aus Dimpo, Aus Waruna, Aus Wama Communist. And a lifelong. The family of fella, good doctor, and all your family members not present here. Could you say all officials of the SACP, led by our national chair, Comrade Blade Nzimande, Comrade Joyce Muloy Moropa, our national treasurer, Comrade Madala Masuko, our first Deputy General Secretary, members of our Central Committee, and our Provincial Secretary in Gauteng, Comrade Mama Bulo, as well as our newly elected District Secretary, who's experiencing this event for the first time from a party mobilization perspective. I can say, Temsile, we have passed with flying colors. Well done. Let me also greet the Nkobi family, the family of our esteemed Treasurer General of the African National Congress, a Zimbabwean national by birth, but a committed revolutionary of the South African Revolution to the end. His children were with us in the Liberation Army, the Glorious People's Liberation Army, Mkhonto weSizwe. And greet the leadership of the ANC, led by Secretary General Comrade Blade Nzimande. There's only one Secretary General in the country of political parties. Others, or one General Secretary, others are Secretary Generals. So my apologies in this regard. And greet Comrade Fikile Mbalula, the SGO of the African National Congress. All members of the NEC of the ANC present here, and the provincial chair of the ANC, Comrade Panyaza Lusuku, who is also premier of our province. The activist premier. For what seconds? Yeah, ungabuyele move. Let me then also recognize the provincial secretary of the ANC, Comrade Ngiza, and the leadership of the ANC in the region, Comrade Kagaza, Comrade Doctor. And greet the leadership of COSATU, led by Deputy President Mike Shingange, the fighting shop steward. And recognize all government officials, senior government officials, ministers and deputy ministers, Minister Gungubele, Deputy Minister Thaba Makwetla, Commissar of our Liberation Army, Umkhonto weSizwe, and recognize various embassies present here today, the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, Comrade Liu Kayang, as well as his delegation, and recognize the High Commissioner of Zambia, Ms. Bernardine Monze, and appreciate once more the great contribution of our former headquarters of the African National Congress in exile, Lusaka, and recognize the High Commissioner of Lesotho, His Excellency Ntsime Jafeta Mona, for the first time. Lesotho, Lesotho, Prime Minister, Mona, one ke hae Mona. Nele re file nama ne Lesotho re itulela renal operation mono ya Umkhonto weSizwe ya ANC. Comrade Chris once was the chief rep of the ANC right there in Lesotho. And recognize as well, comrade, the representative of the Russian embassy, Ms. Polina Kolakova, that great country, Russia, under the Soviet Union, trained our comrades, including Commander Chris and many others. Today itself, Russia is at the center together with China to defend the New World Order and to advance the New World Order. These are at the prime. And therefore, our relationship with these countries, as we have been punished by the US imperialists and Western imperialists in Europe because of our relationship with these countries, we will never forgo our friends to please the imperialists and colonialists who have oppressed us over centuries. Allow me, Program Director, once more, because my protocol is long, to greet councillors here in Ekurhuleni, my home city. That's where I was born, and that's why in this district, in this region, when things don't go well, it affects me personally. And I'm glad, SG, you are talking towards resolving this question of the ANC leadership of this region in council. The ANC must lead or be the opposition. We should not be subjected to ill treatment of our people when we are the majority. This region produced more martyrs at the hour of liberation than any other region in this country. Followed, of course, by KZN, in particular, Durban-Maritzburg region. Therefore, the ANC here, when it's humbled by the masses, by not electing them to lead officially, they must be the opposition and tell the masses that you have humbled us. Go and correct their ills and come back to lead. So the ANC must lead, Comrade Panyaza, here in this region. Let me therefore greeting the Council of Ekurhuleni start by greeting the Speaker of Council, Untabi Singh, as well as the Whip of Council, Comrade Jongi Sizwe Dabati from the African National Congress. Of course, greet Reverend Mapatwe. That's our chaplain, the people's chaplain. The chaplain of Umkhonto weSizwe. He's the chaplain of the Communist Party, the chaplain of the ANC. That's our chaplain there. And we appreciate your presence all the time, chaplain. Sometimes nokubona uthi ukhona babiza abanye abafundisi bazosithandazela. Siyayivuma yonke imithandazo ebuya. Kodwa sinawo abafundisi abaqeqeshwa yithi abethu. He's from theology school himself. So siyakubonga ukuthi ube khona. Ngibulise bonke abafundisi abakhona. And all our traditional leaders that have joined us. And greet the National Secretary of our Young Communist League, Comrade Mzwandile Takuli, and all the youth leadership present here. And greet all all councillors and political parties in council of Ekurhuleni, and recognize Commander Dan Hatu, the convener of Umkhonto weSizwe Liberation War Veterans, for which today I'm wearing its combat. As I recognize equally all former mayors of our great city, Comrade Ntombi Mehwe, you are my great sister and comrade. Comrade Monzi Gungubele, I need your warrior dome. Monzi. Yes, we need your warrior dome. Don't be overcome by government program. The people of this region, of this city, were with you in the front line, together with Comrade Chris. When you arrive in this region, you were like this, together with you, reorganizing this region to defend itself and to fight against apartheid. Yakfuna le region. Comrade Mzwandile Masina, and all comrades present here, all protocol observed, those that I've missed out. My sincere apologies. My protocol was too long, as is always, and I'm not allowed to skip this protocol. To summarize our message, comrades, is to start by saying that our revolution is in deep crisis. It's facing a monumental challenge. As we celebrate and recognize the living legacy of our great General Secretary, Commander of Umkhonto weSizwe, the Glorious People's Liberation Army, Chief of Staff, Commissar Krizani, who was tragically assassinated by the bullets of apartheid and colonialism, by the bullets of criminals on April 10, 1993. This assassination was planned to stop our country's transition from apartheid to democracy. Democracy which itself, it's not freedom, but it's a road to freedom. In other words, when we achieve democracy, we achieve the power of the people to transform their lives. Sometimes we misconstrue this notion that democracy is freedom. Democracy is the road to freedom. And that road itself must be protected. At this hour in our revolution, democracy is under threat. Our own freedom, therefore, is under threat. These assassins also were opposed to see our society advancing towards socialism. In their own words, they said they targeted Krizani because he was a communist. Of course, Krizani was a revered leader of the working class. He certainly had a greater leadership role to play in a democratic South Africa, which he dedicated his entire life for. When the assassins killed him in cold blood, they also stole the life of from the Hani family, a husband from Ausdimpo, a father, an uncle, you name it all, a family man, because Krizani was a great family man. As the SICP, we have consistently been with the Hani family in the fight for justice on this case for over 31 years. We were with the family throughout the assassin's trial. We were with the family from the TRC period. We will always be with the family. We were with the family until the assassins were convicted. They were sentenced to death. But because this movement recognized the right to life, these assassins were spared their lives. Their capital punishment was therefore commuted to life imprisonment. We equally stood with the Hani family to appeal when the assassins appealed their conviction and their sentences. We won all those processes until they went to the Constitutional Court, where we were disappointed. We were unsuccessful. They were released. The other one was released on medical parole. And when he was released, Clive W. Lewis, he recorded a video which he said must be released after his death, where he said if given another opportunity, he will do it again. Our institutions don't even play it, our media. On the contrary, they've been condemning us and the Hani family for being unforgiving. How do you forgive somebody who's not remorseful, who doesn't want to tell the truth? We are still seeking the truth even now. That is why we have said we now want an inquest. And Minister Blade Nzimande, on behalf of government, today we know that this message will arrive where it's supposed to go. The SACP is requesting government to initiate an inquest on all circumstances leading to the death of our General Secretary, Commander Krizan. We are asking you to convey this message to government. We have even collected signatures, online signatures. After this assassin, the last assassin was the actual assassin, Janus Walus, was released on the basis of the Constitutional Court judgment. And therefore, Krizani, what he died for, Ausdimpo summarized it. Comrade Mbalula, as well as Comrade Blade and Comrade Mike, spoke at length about this question. But I also want to highlight something critical in this regard. The negotiated settlement. Because it's important to understand the threat to our democracy and to our freedom and the consequence of the negotiated settlement. We had here not peace. We had unjust peace. In other words, as a consequence of the negotiated settlement, the victims of colonialism and apartheid, the victims of white minority rule, the victims of colonial capitalism in our country, subjected themselves to an unjust process for the sake of peace, because we wanted democracy in which we can gain political power in the hands of the majority, who can then begin to transform their lives. That's what happened. Now, those we negotiated this unjust outcome with, that is why, by the way, the Communist Party called that period the 1994 democratic breakthrough as a consequence of Comrade Hani's death, when we demanded through President Nelson Mandela and the African National Congress leading this process, the date for elections. This date for elections that we are now continuing with other elections is literally written with the blood of a communist martyr, representing many other martyrs of our revolution who died for the freedom and democracy that we enjoy today. But with this consequence, comrades, those we negotiated with have betrayed the negotiations. Because ourselves, in the name of peace, we made compromises in this period. One of those compromises, for instance, well, let me put it this way. As commanders in war, when you defeat your enemy after a battle, Commissar Magwedi, you command a situational report to understand what's happening. Commander Atu, this is our commander of Umkhonto weSizwe. When you command a situational report, you disarm first the enemy. In other words, you suppress all instruments of oppression of the enemy. That's why the first task is to disarm the enemy and have the enemy under your control. In that way, you can then unleash your own program. With the negotiated transition, we were not able to do that. The transition became long. We negotiated for too long, even when we were in government. Now, these negotiators, because they are treacherous in nature, have decided to betray this revolution. Now they want to take it from the back door, we will never allow this revolution to go astray. We will never allow this revolution to be stolen. And this time, they better be warned. We will never accept unjust settlement. That is why this revolution has to be defended. That is why the South African Communist Party, working together with its allies headed by the African National Congress, understand the immediate task that we face today to defend this revolution from counter-revolutionaries, both from inside and from outside. Counter-revolutionaries from Europe and counter-revolutionaries from America who are colluding to remove our liberation movement from political power. They are not even hiding this fact. Today, even the chief rabbi, who together at the time after the assassination of Cde and all other religious leaders accepted and condemned the apartheid regime, today he calls for the ANC to be removed from political power. This is what we are dealing with. And this is what we must use the memory of Comrade Cde to defend this revolution. When Comrade Hani died, there was massive outrage in this country. Tabi Singh spoke about this as well. Massive outrage and discontent in our country. But our people, in their mobilization, little did the apartheid regime knew what they were doing. On his funeral, on the 19th of April, it was a stay away. Over 4 million people who stayed away from work to pay tribute to this gallant hero of our liberation struggle. 2.5 million people participated in pickets and marches leading to his funeral across the country. That stay away was the biggest recorded in our country's history. His funeral became the biggest in our country's history. Why were the people responding this way to this hero, Cde? Because he resembled, he was the epitome of the value system of our liberation struggle. What were these value systems? This is what Comrade Cde always spoke about. Many comrades clarified this question, for instance. But he said it very simply. He said, we will create work for the unemployed. But capitalism is incapable to create jobs for all the people. The state has to take responsibility for this particular task. And therefore, even the program of transformation of society itself is a program of the state. We cannot leave this in the hands of capital. At the same time, he said, we must build homes for the homeless. That's why he launched the campaign as General Secretary of the Communist Party, the Triple H campaign, Health, Hunger, Housing, a campaign to fight against hunger. Today we still have hunger in this country when the big bosses, the capitalists that subverted this democracy, still control the mineral wealth beneath the soil, still control huge resources at the stock exchange. The money in the stock exchange that is in liquid form, that should resolve the problem of this country, it's under the control of capitalists. And yet they have the guts to stand in public and say poverty is caused by government. Poverty is caused by capitalism. It must be said clearly. And you in government, stop taking responsibility on behalf of capital. Even the ruling party, our party, the African National Congress, sometimes, Comrade Balula, I don't understand this thing, why we take responsibility for the crisis of capitalism. When there's a crisis of capitalism, we must create a people's state that actually subverts capitalism. And therefore we take responsibility to lead society as a movement. There's nothing that says the state cannot develop and improve productive forces. Capital wants to create an impression that only itself can create and develop capacity for work, productive forces. No, we have a country here. Here is comrade from China, Comrade Kai, from the People's Republic of China, the most advanced economy in the world. They have ended abject poverty on behalf of 1.4 billion people, led by the Communist Party since 1949. Capital is under their political control. So here we have capital that assumes itself the political leader of society. There is no capital that can ever be the political leader of society. Capital must subvert itself to the political leadership of the elected government of a society. Post this election backs, we are going to have a proper discussions about the reconfiguration of the alliance and about the political exercise of power. In the name of Comrade Krizan, we have brought here and throughout our country our Red Brigades who are campaigning for the African National Congress to defend this revolution and to defend the legacy of Comrade Chris. In this process, we are not signing a blank check. We are a part of the working class. Our mission is to make revolution. We don't want to accompany anyone in the revolutionary program. Our mission is to make a socialist revolution in this country and suppress capitalism. We will achieve this objective at the moment, working on the terrain of the National Democratic Revolution with the African National Congress, COSATU, SANCO, and our democratic forces. We will do all of that together in this particular terrain. That's why we are in an alliance with the African National Congress, to continue this process. But to the extent that poverty is still the way it is in our country, Ausdimpo spoke at length, for instance, about the cost of living crisis affecting the working class in our country. We have to assume responsibility. That is why we are humbling ourselves to our society, to our people. Bring back the African National Congress to political power in the country. Give it decisive majority. Because now the African National Congress is clear. Even those that we were thinking we are working with to stabilize even our economy using this language of the IMF have themselves betrayed the African National Congress, the imperialist forces. They will never forgive you. If you think post this election they are going to forgive you, never. They've taken a decision in the whole centers of America, in Washington, in London. They've taken this decision that this movement must be removed from political power. We are on our own, as we have been on our own. They were not there in the fight against apartheid. They were not there in the fight against colonialism because themselves were the colonizers. It is the socialist countries, Russia, China, Cuba, Laos and others, Vietnam, that were with us. So going forward, after this victory of 29th of May, we must be clear as a revolutionary movement. In the name of Comrade Krizan, our Red Brigades are named after Comrade Krizan, the Krizan Red Brigade for these elections. And we don't just loosely use the word of our General Secretary, Chief of Staff, and Commander of our Army, Comrade Krizan. We are not like other people who just use this name loosely. Krizan belongs to all the people of our country, the working class. Black and white. All people of our country. Ausdimpo knows even this. We consult with her. Our Red Brigades are called the Krizani Red Brigades. We never fail in the memory of Comrade Chris. We do election work on a daily basis until the votes have been counted. This is the only way at this period in time that we can actually give good honor to South Africa's great warrior, Commander Hani. As you know, I'm not going to go into his biography. Many comrades have spoken about this. I want to send a last message respecting even the words said by Ausdimpo, the last quote from Comrade Chris. Today I'm wearing the combat of the glorious People's Army, Umkhonto weSizwe, Commander Hatu. Come here. Commanders and commissars of Umkhonto weSizwe, Izandla, in combat. There's a member of the Special Force here, Commander Gap. He's not in combat. We can't call you Commander Gap. But he was in the Special Force. He fought in battles. He's the one of the unit, for instance, that defeated the apartheid regime. They downed one of their helicopters in Makado. SABC must be doing documentaries about the struggle of our people. Because the public broadcaster, this revolution didn't just come for nothing. Now, comrades, the reason I'm wearing a combat today is very important. One, after I went full-time in the party, after I left the army, the integrated army, South African National Defence Force, which I integrated to in 1995, because we came late here after democracy. When Comrade Chris was killed, we were in the camp. Commander Freddy is here. He's also in civilian clothes. We called him Ziki at the time in our base. There, we were soldiers of Umkhonto weSizwe. We took an oath under military instruction when we joined Umkhonto weSizwe. When we joined Umkhonto weSizwe, Comrade SG of the African National Congress, you renounced all your previous affiliations with the African National Congress. So that means if there was somebody in the ANC underground who was responsible for your work, that task changed because your political authority was now under Umkhonto weSizwe, which accounts politically to the African National Congress. All members of Umkhonto weSizwe will never attack the African National Congress. We took a life and death oath to be under the political control, not just leadership, political control. Underline this word in capital letters, political control of the African National Congress under command and control of Umkhonto weSizwe. This was one of our commanders, Commander J. He's the convener of MK Liberation War veterans as reunited by the African National Congress. There's no other MK that is not under the African National Congress. And therefore, comrade, this question, I wear this combat when we went to Bloemfontein after COPE was established. That's when I wear the combat. I went back to this combat. I went back to this combat because another party is established in our name. This is absolute thuggery, thievery. It's unacceptable. This is provocation. In military terms, members of Umkhonto weSizwe understand this thing. This is political mutiny. Yes, this is Commander Gabe from the Special Force. These are our heroes. We trained him in Cuba, in Angola, in Cuba. They came here, they made big operations. When Hani died, I was with this comrade in the camp. General Andrew Masondo came to give us this sad news. He was accompanied by Chief of Operations General Lambert Muloi, both deceased. May the undying spirit keep on fighting. We wanted General Lambert Muloi to give us an operation order to once and for all embark on a decisive armed struggle for our country after they killed our Chief of Staff. This was the worst provocation that they gave to our country. And yet, the leadership of our movement calmed us down. General Muloi said he doesn't have authority for operational order. He has to go to the High Command. The High Command accounted to the African National Congress. Shell out. Send a message that no. We are not going for an all-out violence. We were ready. Yes, we were ready. We were trained in everything. We listened to the political leadership. We want this country to know, particularly those who want to subvert this democracy, to understand its compromises. This cadre from the Special Force, you can see by looking at him, Commander Gap, doesn't fully enjoy freedom. As are many MK combatants. Majority of these comrades are not working, we're in our combat. Because of those compromises. We will have to respond to these questions, comrade, post-elections, comrade Mbalula. It's the first task we are placing on the table as the Communist Party. The welfare of our combatants and all revolutionaries. We will discuss all those details because this is a public platform. I felt it's important that why I'm wearing a combat today, this is my election attire, Comrade Panyaza. Because we are defending the name of Umkhonto weSizwe. We joined the African National Congress in court. We were there in court. We signed legal papers to affirm that what Secretary General Mbalula was doing on behalf of the ANC, it's a collective decision of us in the alliance, particularly the founding leaders of Umkhonto weSizwe. You can never separate us from Umkhonto weSizwe. You can never even steal from us. All Umkhonto weSizwe soldiers vote for the African National Congress, no other party. This, comrades, will be a great tribute to our General Secretary, Commander Krizan. When we have enough time, we'll create enough space, not on a joint program with government because there's got limitations. We will speak at length about the life and times of the great warrior of our liberation, Commander Krizan. Who stood for the working class and nothing else. Who stood for non-racialism, but will never accept any white supremacy. Will never accept any tendencies towards selling out our revolution, whether from inside or from outside. It was never a sellout, Comrade Krizan. And therefore, these cadres of our movement, commanders and commissars of the glorious People's Liberation Army, where's our chaplain? Oh, you are in uniform, chaplain, although upetele ze samva. Yes. Yes, that's our chaplain. He must speak about our history, about Umkhonto weSizwe. He buried, perhaps more than anybody, most of our commanders and cadres outside. Because they were buried by our own chaplains. We observed these religious rites. So when we talk about the history of Umkhonto weSizwe, from the perspective of the Communist Party and the ANC, people like Chaplain Mapatwe must be involved in this question. Because they remain true cadres of this glorious People's Army. Like Austumpo, you said, we will die in this uniform. We will die with the African National Congress. We are humbling ourselves to our people that re-elect us decisively to correct things and to decisively depart from the unjust transition that was negotiated. The South African Revolution actually is rejuvenated. It starts now after these particular elections. All our premiers, I want to send a message to them because this great premier here is doing very well. But Tinaku Communist Party, we don't mince our words when we see the truth. Ipalwe, clearly, one of our best performing premiers. Bomasis, clear about programs, interventionists. That's how the state must be. I wish all the premiers can get oomph. Jengalomfo, Comrade Panyaza Lusu. Utuwavara ni nama toll gate. Uwatimani ngizotu ya kuma countries. Mauya namhlanje and we accompany you to those countries because we have fulfilled the promise we made to our people. Thank you very much. Amandla! Long live the undying spirit of Comrade Krizan. Long live! Forward to socialism. Forward! Thank you very much.
Comrade Bob, how's uniting Ango? Shona malanga, shona langa, so tiban, Gepa suke satini, so tiban, Gepa suke satini, shona malanga, Shona malanga, shona malanga, siso tiban, Gepa